appear to see in Barack Obama a leader and orator in the footprint of former great American leaders.
Your sincere good wishes are gratefully accepted.
Fortunately, there is one candidate who offers that same sense of hope and inspiration. And I am proud to endorse Senator Barack Obama for President of the United States.
We do not yet know whether they are summoned to battle.
One of my favorite quotes is a quote by Bobby Kennedy, where he said, "The future does not belong to those who are fearful and timid of bold projects.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The future belongs to those who can blend passion, reason, and courage into a personal commitment to the great ideals and enterprises of American society."
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all men are created equal.
That all men are created equal.
When Senator Obama delivers his acceptance speech on the same day as Daddy delivered his I Have a Dream speech, it's almost like you have this picture of Dr. King articulating this dream, and you fast forward and someone's standing there who is like the embodiment of what he was speaking.
The I Have a Dream message that my father so eloquently delivered in 1963, August 28th, he clearly was not speaking of a dream just for black people, but he was talking about the true American dream. An election of Senator Obama is not the fulfillment of the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. It is certainly a part of what Martin Luther King Jr. envisioned, but the fulfillment has to be when people have decent jobs and health care and housing and education and justice.
But the reality is he symbolizes something much larger than himself. His whole platform is a call to the global community.
Sometimes you got to stand up.
As I knocked on these doors, this is my precinct in Dallas, 1120, which is North Dallas, an area called Hamilton Park. I'm white, as you can see. Hamilton Park is 99% black. There was, in one case, a 5-year-old that was peeking around from her mother's skirts, and she looked up and she said, "I just love Barack Obama." And it's just, there's magic out there, and there's hope.
I think that all Americans are going to have to roll up their sleeves to work with the next leader of our country.
People that I know are ready to roll up their sleeves and say, okay, what now? And a vast majority of the people that support Obama have never before been engaged in either activism or politics. And so they're not going away easily.
I don't think you can wait 8 more years. I think it has to happen now. And people say, well, why do you run now and why don't you run later? You know, he's full of hope. He's full of desire to change this country. He sees it. He's full of the optimism that I think if you become an older politician, they hard boil out of you.
And Barack told me, he said, "Jesse, I'm never going to be as popular as I am today. And so I don't want to wake up in 4 years or in 8 years and someone tell me that you should have run for president in 2008 and you didn't do it." I say that's not a bad idea. And while we're young enough to have the energy enough to cover all of these counties and all of these states, now is the time for us to move. At that time, he told me I was going to be a co-chairman of his campaign, and I've been honored to serve in that capacity since the very inception of this campaign.
I know when he came to Austin, Texas, and he was able to gather a crowd of about 19 to 20,000 people on the banks of the river down there, I knew right then there was something special about this fellow that I had frankly never heard of.
Barack Obama began his political career in the Illinois state legislature. Mindell says one cannot emphasize enough the importance of Senate President Emil Jones's role in growing Obama's legislative bona fides and his cultural crossover.
He got credentials in each area, and that was due to him ingratiating himself with Senate President Jones, and that was just a very powerful relationship for him.
His record is very comprehensive for just 8 years in the state Senate. Many of the initiatives he led were among the most complex issues of their time. Health coverage expansions, welfare reform, death penalty reform, ethics, incredibly complicated stuff.
He was exemplary in building bipartisan bridges, his legislative track record prolific. Obama introduced a staggering 800 pieces of legislation in his first 2 years and was instrumental in getting 180 of them signed into law, unprecedented for a junior senator.
He worked with myself and the late United States Senator Paul Simon, and we were able in Senator Obama's first year to pass the first ethics changes in this rough and tumble state of Illinois in 3 decades.
Republican Senator Kirk Dillard even appeared in an Iowa TV ad for Obama.
Cutting taxes for workers and winning health care for children.
Senator Obama worked on some of the deepest issues we had, and he was successful in a bipartisan way. He's a friend and a colleague and somebody that I admire and we work closely together with, and he asked me, and it's a personal thing. America's too partisan, and I just think that it was important that I help out to show my daughters and Senator Obama's daughters and children that two people of different colors, of different political parties, and of different geographic regions, Chicago versus the suburbs, can work together on some issues.
When a guy can go and talk to a rap star and connect with that person, and he can go and talk to the CEO of a company, and then he can go to a foreign leader, this is a pretty malleable figure.
That connectivity and his organizational skills were evident in the creation of Obama's youth movement and grassroots movement. People who now felt they had someone they could believe in, who they felt would listen to them.
He has energized a political spirit among people who have been apolitical, who haven't before wanted to participate, who haven't before wanted to vote, which constitutes a real movement in this country and makes it possible for us both domestically and abroad to have a new face and a new set of promises.
Obama mania was in the air, driven in great part by various catalysts in music and cyberspace.
Barack took cool, in that sense, to a whole new generation.
February 2007, slim man, arms stretched toward heaven.
The Bergevin brothers composed 7 songs for America and the single, Fired Up, Ready to Go. The lyrics convey the enthusiasm and excitement that followed the campaign.
Looking up the soaring peak, the crowd hushed and he did speak. He said, fired up, ready to go. Time is now, the world will know.
Listen to how Barack inspires people. The story he tells about how one person yelling fired up in a room of 20 people and the rest of them responding to it. Ready to go, fired up, ready to go. One person's voice started to spread. It can be taken on a world level from that one voice.
We called Pat Wright from the Total Experience Gospel Choir and asked her if she'd be interested in having her group perform. Called old friend Matt Cameron from Pearl Jam and said, do you want to participate? He was like, yeah, let's do it. And everybody just started falling into place, and the music is taking off. Everybody's volunteering to do it and to be a part of this.
3, 4.
come and they say that we've set our sights too high. But you say that the time has come to move beyond, to move beyond, to move beyond. Fired up, ready to go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go, Santa Barbara!
Many of Obama's friends and associates believe that one of his greatest talents is his unique ability to find common ground, a talent that galvanizes both liberals and conservatives.
Well, I used to be a Republican, and I've come over to the Obama side from the Republican side, and I'm so much happier here.
All of the policies that Obama worked on as a state senator that had to do with fighting poverty and creating opportunity had application throughout the state, from the neighborhoods on the south side to the Mexican-American communities on the west side to the Caucasian communities out in the country. His record is very comprehensive for just 8 years in the state Senate. Many of the initiatives he led on were among the most complex issues of the time. Health coverage expansions, welfare reform, death penalty reform, ethics, incredibly complicated stuff.
And that, along with the ability to cross party lines and color barriers, has empowered Obama to do what no other African-American politician so far has, to speak to the masses and out-strategize Hillary Clinton.
But what was different about his campaign?
Senator Barack Obama had the riskiest strategy out of every candidate running. Senator Clinton went after core Democratic voters, older voters, women, namely white women, union voters, blue collar. That's the traditional Democrat. Obama recognized that, and he said, okay, I have to create my own constituency.
Shock doesn't begin to describe how the Clinton camp felt in the wake of their third-place finish in Iowa. It was an Obama tsunami headed their way.
Clinton ran an analog campaign. Obama ran a digital campaign. She ran a 20th century campaign. He ran a 21st century campaign. She did not maximize the internet until after she ran out of money. Game over. It was too late.
You know, I have so many opportunities from this country. I just don't want to see us fall backwards. This is very personal for me. It's not just political, it's not just public. I see what's happening, and we have to reverse it.
And the former First Lady won the New Hampshire primary. Clinton got her second wind. It marked the start of a blistering primary.
You talked about Ronald Reagan being a transformative political leader. I did not mention his name.
Your husband did.
Well, I'm here. He's not.
Okay, well, I can't tell who I'm running against sometimes.
They called him a celebrity, not a politician.
Kennedy married politics and celebrity. Obama is essentially doing that again with television, but also the new technology.
The Teflon candidate swept 13 straight primaries, many in key swing states.
He's about change, too.
And I can guarantee you, if it wasn't for the internet, we wouldn't have been able to run an effective campaign state to state to state.
If you want to talk about the internet and blogs, also talk about his fundraising ability in small contributions. It was incredible, okay? Of people giving $5, $10, $20, $50 who normally would not contribute to campaigns.
They were, in essence, tithing to his campaign.
Crowds swelled to often more than 20,000 people to hear the inspiring new candidate, famous for his soaring oratory.
You know, some people may think words are change, but you and I know better. Words are cheap.
Tell me words don't matter.
I have a dream.
Just words.
That all men are created equal.
Just speeches.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
When these attacks failed to crater the Obama campaign, neither Clinton nor McCain had long to wait before a new front-page story would emerge. Enter the Reverend Jeremiah Wright.
I served 6 years in the military. Does that make me patriotic? How many years did Cheney serve?
My research showed that Reverend Wright, when Obama first joined the church, wasn't quite as bombastic and controversial as he has been in recent years.
David Mendel had followed Obama more closely than any other journalist.
I'm not totally convinced that, in the last few years, when Reverend Wright was really spewing some of these anti-American sentiments, that Obama was aware of that. He only stopped in his church a couple of times.
Obama, when the Reverend Wright issue broke, said to us essentially, I'm not the black candidate for president, I'm the Democratic candidate for president who happens to be black.
We can play Reverend Wright's sermons on every channel every day and talk about them from now until the election, and make the only question in this campaign whether or not the American people think that I somehow believe or sympathize with his most offensive words. We can pounce on some gaffe by a Hillary supporter as evidence that she's playing the race card, or we can speculate on whether white men will all flock to John McCain in the general election regardless of his policies. We can do that. But if we do, I can tell you that in the next election, we'll be talking about some other distraction, and then another one, and then another one, and nothing will change.
But it was really his speech on racism that clinched me. I kind of had this feeling of trust in him, and trust in him in terms of his moral compass, and also trust that he's much smarter than me.
Still, the bitter primaries did more to create further divisions and kindle the race debate.
I know for a fact that the Clinton-Obama campaign divided households, in Latino households. It's funny because people say, well, I'm not going to vote for someone who is African American, which is ridiculous because most of us are darker than Barack. So it shouldn't be an issue of whether the color of someone's skin and the darkness of it makes him less qualified to be president, because John McCain is probably one of the whitest dudes I've ever seen, but I don't think that will equate to make him the greatest president.
It was painful to see some of my friends' reactions to his candidacy and to see, I don't know, I would say some of the prejudice. In fact, some of the people at our school, there was a lot of the Hussein stuff, obviously Muslim prejudice.
Most people do not know, for example, that a black man is head of American Express today, Kenneth Chenault, that the former president of Time Warner was a black man, Richard Parsons. The former CEO of Merrill Lynch was a black man. But they do know all of the athletes, they do know all the entertainers. And so, again, I think this paradigm changes when a black man is elected president of the United States.
We've had a Secretary of State, we had one of the Joint Chiefs, we've had one in the Supreme Court. It's time we had one in the presidency at some point. But I think the country needs to demonstrate that it is open, and he's demonstrated that.
Change was in the air. Obama seemed to have tapped into the hearts and minds of youth. A new generation might be watching the nightly news instead of the latest hip-hop video.
With our young people, they see Cool as a Jay-Z, as a Sean Puffy Combs. But with Barack, young people began to realize, oh, you can be a politician. You can have an Ivy League education. You can speak correct English, and that is cool.
Ever since Obama got into the election and he's been going through his trials and tribulations, if you know